ACKMAN'S big plan. The $300 billion fix the government doesn't want you to understand. If you feel like something is deeply wrong with the housing market, if you feel like home ownership, the cornerstone of the American dream, is slipping further and further out of reach, if you're wondering why prices keep climbing, why mortgage rates keep rising, and why renting feels like throwing money into a bottomless pit, let me tell you something important. It's not your imagination. It's not bad luck. It's not a personal failure. It's a system that's been built, modified, distorted, and exploited over the last decade and a half. A system that is now so fragile, so unbalanced, so politically weaponized, that even a small shock could send the entire housing market into chaos. And at the center of that system, hidden from public attention, are two financial giants, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. They control, guarantee, or influence more than $12 trillion worth of mortgages. They affect nearly every interest rate. They shape lending rules. They define risk in the housing market. And yet, most people have no idea what they do. Most politicians avoid explaining them. Most journalists don't touch the topic, and the public stays in the dark. But if you don't understand Fannie and Freddie, you don't understand the housing market. And if you don't understand the housing market, you don't understand why homeownership feels impossible today. Now enter Bill Ackman, billionaire investor, Wall Street renegade, and someone who has made billions predicting financial crises before they happen. He's not just commenting on Fannie and Freddie. He's proposing a total overhaul, a full reset, a restructuring so massive that it could change the trajectory of American housing for decades. And according to him, his plan could save U.S. taxpayers $300 billion. So today, we're going to break it all down. What Fannie and Freddie are, why they've been trapped for 16 years, why the government won't release them, what Ackman's $300 billion plan actually is, and most importantly, what this means for you, your family, and the future of homeownership. I'm Felix, and this is Mindful Money and Meals, the Felix Exposé edition. Let's dive in. Part 1. The secret giants behind every mortgage. When you walk into a bank and ask for a mortgage, you think the bank is giving you the money. But that's not really how it works. Banks don't want to hold a 30-year mortgage. It ties up their cash, it increases their risk, and it limits their ability to lend to more customers. So instead, they quickly sell your mortgage. And the buyers? Almost always. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. These two institutions, checkmark, buy mortgages from banks, checkmark. Package them into mortgage-backed securities, checkmark, guarantee payments to investors, checkmark, create stability in the mortgage system. This is why 30-year mortgages even exist. Without Fannie and Freddie, the market for long-term fixed-rate loans would collapse, because no bank wants that risk for 3 decades. It's not an exaggeration to say Fannie and Freddie are the U.S. housing market. If they disappeared tomorrow, mortgage rates would spike to 10 to 12% overnight. The entire housing market would freeze. Home prices would fall like a stone. Banks would panic. Investors would flee. They are the hidden infrastructure, the plumbing, the silent machinery that keeps the American dream alive. But here's where the story gets dark. Part 2. The 16-year government lockdown. In 2008, when the financial crisis hit, Fannie and Freddie were drowning in bad loans. To prevent total collapse, the government stepped in. The Treasury bailed them out. In return, it placed them under something called conservatorship, government control. This was supposed to be a temporary emergency measure. They'll be released in a few years, officials said. Just until things calm down, they promised. That was 16 years ago. Instead of releasing them, the government did something unprecedented. Something almost no one talks about. It began seizing 100% of their profits. This is called the net worth sweep. Every dollar they earned, billions per year, was taken by the government and used to plug federal budget holes. Not to strengthen the housing market, not to stabilize the system, not to build reserves for future crises, just taken. At the same time, they were forbidden to grow, forbidden to recapitalize, forbidden to rebuild. Forbidden from operating like real companies, they were kept weak, intentionally. And this is the dangerous part, because Fannie and Freddie have been kept financially thin, a future housing crash would wipe them out instantly, and taxpayers would once again be forced to bail them out. We are sitting on a time bomb, and Wall Street knows it, and Bill Ackman really knows it. Part 3. Bill Ackman's explosive entry. Bill Ackman is not a quiet guy. He is outspoken, strategic, controversial, and undeniably brilliant. He predicted the 2008 collapse, the COVID crash, major structural failures in corporate America, and now he's predicting another crisis, one built around Fannie and Freddie's artificial weakness. So he created a plan, a massive plan, a plan that would restore Fannie and Freddie, rebuild their capital, end government control, protect taxpayers, strengthen the mortgage system, lower long-term mortgage rates, prevent another 2008-style collapse. And he says this would save American taxpayers up to $300 billion. Here's how. 1. End the conservatorship. Let Fannie and Freddie operate independently again. 2. Recapitalize them with private investment. Instead of taxpayer money, let Wall Street absorb the risk. 3. Make them keep their profits. No more government drain. Use profits to build strength and stability. 4. Maintain government oversight, but with transparency, not political control, regulatory control. 5. Restore the housing market's foundation. Give lenders confidence. Give investors clarity. Give homeowners lower rates. Ackman believes this isn't just a fix. He believes this is the only way to prevent a future housing catastrophe. Part 4. Why the government won't let go. If Ackman's plan is so good, why hasn't it happened? Why did 3 presidents ignore it? Why does Congress avoid it? Why does Treasury refuse to discuss it? Why do regulators pretend it's not urgent? Let's break it down. Reason number 1, money. The government loves the profits from Fannie and Freddie. Billions per year, free money, no political cost. Why would they give that up? Reason number 2, power. Controlling the mortgage market equals controlling the middle class. Through Fannie and Freddie, Washington indirectly influences lending rules, credit standards, home ownership rates, interest rate dynamics. Politicians don't give up power voluntarily. Reason number 3, politics. Housing is explosive. If a reform goes wrong, politicians get blamed, so they prefer to do nothing. Reason number 4, public ignorance. Few people understand Fannie and Freddie, so nobody pressures the government. A silent public equals easy inaction. Reason number 5, big banks don't want competition. Banks want the mortgage market for themselves. A strong, independent Fannie-Freddie blocks that, so banks lobby quietly in the shadows. When you combine government profits, political power, Wall Street lobbying, you get a stalemate. Part 5. The $300 billion risk. Ackman's $300 billion claim isn't a guess. It's based on a frightening reality. If a housing downturn hits today, Fannie and Freddie don't have enough capital to survive. That means they collapse. The mortgage system collapses. The government bails them out. Taxpayers foot the bill. Again, experts estimate that bailout would cost $200 billion to $300 billion. Ackman proposes the opposite. Let private investors recapitalize them now, so taxpayers never pay later. Simple, logical, effective, but politically unpopular, because it forces the government to give up control. Part 6. How this changes your life. This isn't just economic theory. This hits your wallet directly. Here's how Ackman's plan affects you. 1. Lower mortgage rates. Stronger institutions equals lower risk equals lower rates. Over 30 years, this could save families tens of thousands of dollars. 2. More stable home prices. A stable mortgage backbone means less volatility. 3. Easier access to mortgages. Banks feel safer lending. 4. Reduced taxpayer risk. No more trillion-dollar bailout cycles. 5. A healthier housing market, supply, demand, rates, and risk all stabilize. This could be the biggest improvement to U.S. housing affordability in decades. Part 7. The forces fighting Ackman. Powerful players oppose Ackman. Big banks. They want more mortgage control. Treasury, they want the profits. Politicians, they want the power. Activists. Some misunderstand the proposal. Certain hedge funds, they profit from the status quo. Ackman is taking on an entire ecosystem, and ecosystems fight back. Part 8. Will it actually happen? The truth? Ackman's plan is rational, but politics is not rational. It could happen soon, It could happen in 5 years. It could happen after a crisis. Or it might take a total housing collapse to force action. But make no mistake, something is going to happen, because the current system cannot survive another shock. Part 9. Ackman's true motive. Is Ackman doing this to help America? Maybe. Is he doing it to help homeowners? Possibly. Is he doing it because he owns shares tied to Fannie and Freddie? Absolutely. If his plan succeeds, he makes a fortune. But here's the important part. He wouldn't be investing if he didn't believe the reform was inevitable. Ackman sees what the public doesn't. Political pressure rising, financial instability growing, taxpayer anger increasing, housing affordability collapsing, government budgets shrinking. He believes the system will eventually be forced to change, either voluntarily or through crisis. And historically, Ackman has often been early, but he's rarely been wrong. Part 10. The future of the housing system. If Ackman gets his way, Fannie and Freddie become strong, mortgage rates stabilize, the housing market rests on solid ground, taxpayer exposure disappears, the next crisis becomes survivable. If the government keeps things as they are, they stay weak, the market stays unstable, homeownership becomes harder, risks accumulate, and eventually, taxpayers pay the price. This is the crossroads. One path leads to stability, the other leads to collapse and bailout. The government may delay, Wall Street may resist, politicians may hesitate. But the truth is simple. A storm is coming, and reform is not a question of if, but when. The only real question is, who pays the price, taxpayers or private investors? You already know which option Bill Ackman prefers, and honestly, he might be right. Stay aware, stay informed, stay protected, stay ahead. This is Felix. See you next time.